All right, well, here is my thoughts and opinions on this rack and ride. First thing I want to say is that I was pretty pleased with the customer service. I put off ordering this thing for quite a while just because of the price, and I don't know, just a little sketchy about hanging this Africa Twin off the back of this truck. So I waited a little too close to my trip, and so I ordered it finally. Of course, obviously there's a time difference between Texas and Australia, but their customer service guy emailed me really fast, like that, as soon as he got that apparently, and said, hey, I don't have any of these in Denver, which is where they ship them from here in the United States. He said, I'll air freight you one from Australia, and I won't charge any extra. I don't hold him to that. I know there's some tariff things and other stuff going on, so that may be a one-shot deal. But anyway, I had the thing here in like 6 business days from Australia. Now be warned, it comes in 3 different boxes. So as far as tracking, just kind of be aware that there's 3 boxes. The ramp was in a box by itself because that's an accessory. All like the hardware and stuff was in a box, and then the main unit was in a box. And I was a little kind of concerned about the fact that that's a hollow tube. I kind of expected, I guess, was something like an RV where that part was solid. And I was a little like, oh man, this is not going to hold. It's going to bounce, it's going to bend. Now in the pin end, they do have some flat stock welded in there that's braces it up. And but I'll tell you this at the end, but my fears were unfounded. This thing worked perfect. It was fine. The instructions were a little vague. It just came with a paper that said, check our website for a video on the instructions. And there was only instructions on how to strap your motorcycle down. There wasn't anything on putting it together. I did find something on YouTube, but the instructions on YouTube didn't exactly match. This whole part at the front is different. The orange part has some welded on stuff on the front on that video, and this one does not. You have to bolt them on. I mean, I figured it out. It wasn't and they didn't tell me what to do with this part. Of course, I figured it out by the pictures. But so I only really have 2 kind of issues, and this is after using it for the first time for an out-of-state trip. Is one, I'm not a huge fan of how this works, because when your bike is on here and you're trying to load the ramp, there's no tolerance right there, and so the ramp catches on these inside here where these straps go through, and you have to reach in there and hold that up to slide the ramp through. And when your bike's on here, that's kind of a pain, and it would be even more of a pain trying to thread that through there if you took it out every time. I'm gonna probably take these clamps off and do something else, like maybe just wrap something around the whole pipe. But that was too hard. And also pull it out this way, because if you pull it out that way, those bolts will catch on those and you'll never get it out. So here is my main, I guess, thing that I wish they might design different or ask about or something. And I mean, I may be the only person ever bringing this up. So for the $1,700 and something cost of this thing, I want to be able to use it on anything. So even though, yes, I do have the big receiver, I didn't want to order the bigger option of the bigger tube, because I want to be able to use it on any vehicle that might not have that big receiver. So like just about everybody in America with a 3/4 ton or bigger truck, I have a little sleeve in here. Now I welded my sleeve in because it rattled around and I didn't like it, but the grinder, I can get it off pretty quick. So the problem with that is they have got this hole in the frame of the rack and ride so that you can use their little tension clamp. The problem is that hole, the dimensions of it don't account for that sleeve. So if you have a sleeve in your receiver, that hole is covered up. You can see I had to take a grinder and notch mine out. And that was just kind of irritating. I mean, at like a quarter or half inch further back, they could have put that hole, and the tension thing has a long slot in it that has plenty of adjustment. That was just kind of, to me, the only deal is, yes, I could have paid another couple $100 to have a bigger tube that I didn't need that sleeve. But then if I ever got a half-ton truck, it wouldn't work. So, I wanted this thing to be versatile. So I needed the universal, 2-inch receiver. And the hole that's bored in there from the factory doesn't account for that sleeve. And just in my opinion, after my trip, these little shims that they send you are useless. So, I mean, it's like every receiver, it's going to have some slop, but I'll show you kind of how I clamped it on and ended up taking most of that out. Receiver slop is not because of anything Rack and Ride did. That's just the nature of receiver hitches. I just wish that hole would have been further back and I wouldn't have had to cut those notches out. So that's my only gripe, and it's not a big one. I mean, it's obviously I figured it out. So, but overall, I mean, it's pretty beefy, and it is heavy. Now you might notice I had a grade 8 bolt holding mine in. That's just part of trying to keep the slop out, but it doesn't matter. You can use a pin. You're not going to want to pull this thing in and out every time you stop. I was very pleased that my tailgate would open with it on there, because man, that thing is it's all there and it's awkward to pick up. So I'm not a weak guy, and it's pretty awkward for me to get it in and out of that receiver. So just be warned. It's still better than dealing with a trailer though in a campground and on my trip. So all right, just like any receiver hitch, there's a lot of slop, and this is the part that comes with it, and it did a decent job of the side to side, but it did absolutely nothing for the tilt back and forth. It still would move a ridiculous amount. That does absolutely nothing for I guess you'd say the rocking. So I used both. I used that and the traditional kind, and it seemed to do okay. I thought I'd throw this in here just in case anybody's wondering about the dimensions. This is a 2017 Africa Twin with a 150/70/18 on the back, and that's where it comes to. That's what it likes sitting in the track. I mean, there's not just a whole lot back there, but I mean, it's not going anywhere. So I mean, I first put it on there as concerned, but after 800 something mile one-way trip, it wasn't a problem. So if you're just curious about that size, it'll fit on there. So after a load and unload sequence with ratchet straps, I would highly recommend, before you load your motorcycle on that rack, go ahead and run your loops and just hang one of these on each side. That way when you go up there on it, all you gotta do is reach up here, hook that in the eyelet, and cinch it down. You're not fumbling with trying to reach down and grab straps and everything else. I would suggest having those pre-hung for the front too on your forks. Okay, so we rack and rode and rolled all the way from Van, Texas to Southport, Colorado. 822 miles one way. Went up there, rode for a couple days, came back. I know I said I wasn't going to show the loading and unloading, because there's several videos of that out there, and that's fine. But the first time loading is very nerve-wracking, and the first time getting it off is very nerve-wracking. But after that, it's not that big a deal. I mean, just, my son thought I was supposed to ride it up on there, and that's not happening at all. But I see a lot of people use stools. Now, I'm 6 foot, 220. This heavy bike, got all this crap on it. I actually kind of preferred, when I was going up on there, I kind of liked the way I could kind of lean on it rather than holding down. And I just don't think I'd want to be on a stool, stepping up and down on the stool. I didn't have any trouble just guiding it up here like this. And really, once it gets in that little track at the front, it's pretty steady. I do recommend using these little push buckle type on the forks and going ahead and having them pre-hung on your bike, so that when you get up here, all you have to do is reach down, hit them, and zip. The first time I did it, I had ratchet straps, and I was up here with one hand trying to get the ratchets and the strap through and get them cinched down, and that just was kind of a lot going on. This was way better to just get them a little snug on each side, and then you're fine. You can do everything you need to do. I would also hint to have the bike running when you unload it, because that way, if you start going down the ramp and you're off center, off kilter, for whatever reason, need to get back up on, you're not trying to start your bike halfway through this process. It's already running. So I will have mine running when I unload it. That way, if I start to run off the ramp or something like that, I'm off alignment, I can go just get right back on there. Man, I went a lot to interstate and state highways, very little like off-road. Of course, I could see it moving a little bit. Not a problem. One time on the way home, the inside front strap was hanging loose, but it's because I didn't have them very tight, honestly. I didn't want to crush down those front forks, and you don't really have to. If you will cinch your back ones down good, it pushes it down and into that rack, and you don't really have to yank the front down. You're just yanking it down enough, and these straps don't have the clips the way these do. I would recommend, if you can figure out a way to get some clips with the push button, I would do that. But overall, I'm very happy with it. I know there's cheaper ones out there, and a lot of people have success with those cheaper ones. I was gonna put my very expensive, very dear to me bike on the best thing I could think of, and again, the customer service is great. They got it here from Australia really quick, and I'm pleased, and I'll get some use out of this. Rather than, it's definitely a lot handier than pulling a trailer all over the place and having to park it at a campground. And you know, once the bike's off, you can get in and out of the back of your truck no problem. And you know, the way I had my hitch tightened and the tension taken out of it seemed to work okay. I mean, it's still got a little play, but not anything like it does when you don't put those hinge tighteners. It doesn't have any play back and forth like this. So overall, man, I highly recommend it. This is the adventure model, and again, the instructions that I found online were not great because there's a couple parts that were different than what this one actually is, but I figured it out, and I recommend them. So if you're in the market for one and you're trying to decide if this is worth it, to me it definitely was worth the cost, and I feel like I'll get use, you know, for a lot of years to come. So that's my opinion of the Rack and Ride for what it's worth.